Okay, everybody, thank you very, very much for waiting so patiently. So, here's what's gonna be going on today. Now, before I get into that, actually, I just want to talk first about, what's going on outside. It's crazy because it's it's winter time. It's kind of a mix between fall and winter, but those are the conditions in the atmosphere. So I think that you can recall. If you remember last October, well, the last time, if it was last year at the very end of October, then it was snowy and it was kind of a false frost. You know, if you want to call it that. Well, it was so icy and then it all melted away. You remember that's when I had you all watch the Book of Life and we looked at Day of the Dead. Now I have my own things going on with my religious groups, and if you can look out there, if you take a look out, it's in the backyard, then we're getting things set up for our Mexican American Day of the Dead fiesta, which will be on Halloween. It will be on October 31st. So, up until then, if you want to honor a loved one, that is either sick or is, deceased, and you want to kind of have that magic of bringing him or her back, then just tell one of my grave diggers, and they will paint. They will carve out grave site, or tomb for them, with their name and R.I.P. There's going to be dancing. I'm going to be having skeletons. There's going to be flowers that, decorative that I'm going to hang around. I know that Labimbi Bellbook is getting some Mexican antiques that I'll be putting around, and we're going to be putting candles, making a walkway of candles in the yard, and, there's going to be all kinds of, chips and dips and all kinds of things like that, and I'm going to definitely be dressed up in my, Mexican clothing. So, around that time on October 27th, which is tomorrow, okay, that is the Shirley birthday. Remember, we made that music video way back in February on the Shirley Scorpio. We're going to be watching The Book of Life, which is the movie that was, that was the basis upon Coco. So, for those of you who have seen Coco, I know that I've seen it, and I think that it's kind of okay, but, personally, I like The Book of Life, because it tells, a better story of the Dia de los Muertos. But, I think that Coco is good too. I just think that, the Book of Life is, more authentic, in my opinion. So, for those of you who have seen it, Coco. Okay. You're definitely going to find a lot of similarities of Coco and then the Book of Life movie. Remember that after that, November came along, and remember, if you can remember that Saturday on the 2nd, I think that you all really enjoyed when Amy was here with us. She was here in September, early to mid-September she was here, and then she also came back in November. Unfortunately, she was not with us in early January. And, remember, around that time is when we had that, that concert where we sang, "I'll be your candle on the water," kind of thing. I think that you can all, relate back to that. So, Candle on the Water, Raven's Home Connection, the Thanksgiving, before 2019 came out. So, what we're going to be doing is, as a part of today, we are going to go outside to kind of, do a little scavenger hunt. Like we did before, and, try to look for a couple of things that, that are representative to fall and winter at the same time. And, journaling what you are seeing. Sometimes I have you do like a, picture poster. I know we did that one time. We did a haiku another time. We did, then a poem and then a phenomenon that we looked at. Now we're going to be doing just a, just kind of a narrative journal, of what you find, your observations, try to look for something interesting. I think that you all know the drill for that. So, As you can see, I have put Deborah's picture up on my window. She is an Edmonton person. Um, Somebody can be an Edmonton guest while they are an Edmonton person. Only if I'm feeling something for them, an honorary. Um, so, anyway, she is the person, ever since we, way back at the beginning of the year, we, decided to go astrological. It was January 3rd. It was, the afternoon. It was that morning of January 3rd, and I was sitting with my fellow Mentons having a meeting, and we talked about the whole new astrological decision. And I really, discussed who I would bring in as the source for learning, and studying astrology, and that was Deborah Silverman. So she comes and she goes at different times. Now the next person who will be active very soon, actually, next, November, is Colette Barron-Reed. And she will be at Astropalooza, which will be on October 29th. So that's 2 days before our big Day of the Dead Halloween celebration. And will you be there for that? Okay. Yeah, I think that you'll really enjoy it. So, it will definitely be something special that you'll look forward to. Because I would really love to go up there. Down to Mexico. On the Day of the Dead. I think that would be definitely a very memorable and very, it would be a privilege to do that. And some year in my life, I will do that. So, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. So, she'll be at Astropalooza. She will be giving oracle cards, oracle card readings. She'll add, kind of infuse songs that she made about astrology and oracle cards because she, used to be a singer. Deborah, of course, will be there giving readings and, doing things that I think that would be best, for me to be surprised by. So I'm kind of, leaving it, for, anticipation and waiting, until we get there. I know that, that there will be a wide variety of games and activities and performances, and actually, right now, the Dance Moms girls way back in Pittsburgh are doing dances for not only Halloween. They're doing a Halloween dance, and actually, I'm aware that Kathy is going to be coming here, and she is going to be putting on a group dance. Celebrating Day of the Dead. And she did it in season 3. And she's going to change a little bit, refine things from, when they did it way back in 2013. But, so, they're going to be putting on dances for that, and also the different relationships between the signs, the different placement, well, not all of them, but all the different signs, and then you put all of them together in one dance, and then, separate certain relationships. Those are some big announcements, and, some things that you need to know, okay? Now, the missing element, I really hope that you are going to get into that. Preferably the element that you feel that you are missing and that you wish that you had more of. So for me, it would be water. I don't I don't feel like I have very much water. But your emotions, are not narrow streeted. So, everybody feels different things about, different ways about different things, and that's only true. But so that is, that. And I know that if you watch Waiting for God, for those of you who have seen Waiting for God, do you know what I'm talking about when I say that? Okay. So you do know, there's somebody in there, her name is Jane, and I forget the actress who plays her. She was born, believe it or not, on June 28th, and her character is definitely a Cancer. So that was very, very, I found that very obvious to me, why she was born on June 28th. But she is, so Caravellian and overly emotional. Either, too joyous and happy, or, the waterworks coming down, or, you know. Um, so that's something else that, you go on astro.com or, Cafe Astrology. That's, what I use for looking at natal charts. I go on Cafe Astrology and, you put in your, birth chart information and it comes up and then you find which element that you don't have as much of it. The thing is, it's difficult because there's only 10 planets and there's 12 signs, and you need to have, 3 signs in, each element. So 3 water, 3 air, 3 earth, 3 fire. Out of 4 elements, 12 signs, So I think that equation really makes a lot of sense. So, I want you to, if you haven't already, well, all of you should have already, looked up that information and have a chart printed out. I know that, you've done that, obviously. So, when you do that, you'll find out what what tile on the car needs to be blown up a little bit, and then reading about that element. And we were just reading about fire yesterday in your book, and Colette Bowen Reed, her story. Now, I'm gonna sit down. By the way, also, for anything else, I'm going to stop the video after we're done with our going outside because I want to work on Scorpio. And it will be very boring if I were to film that and me teaching you, because it would be redundant and it would be ho-hum, and I feel like it would be a waste of my air to do that. So that's not what we're gonna do. Although we will do it like we have, and we're not gonna do it for every single sign. Just the ones that I like. So for Capricorn, we're gonna do it definitely for Pisces. I really like the one for Pisces. My zodiac sign, Aries, so. I think Taurus is, pretty good. Cancer, I don't like that one. I think that Leo and Virgo are okay. Libra, yes, I like that one. So, that's kind of a general opinion of. excuse me for uno momento. So, morning. I just wanted to introduce you again to Deborah Silverman. So, so, one of the things that I have been talking about is setting boundaries. Remember, we had that whole thing last week about setting boundaries and about really committing to something. Now, if you would have to ask me, which sign do I prefer? Gemini or Sagittarius? I like both a lot and equally, and I wouldn't choose one over the other. But if I had to, then I would choose Sagittarius. Because Sagittarius is a fire sign that, is represented by the centaur and the archer. And if you think about, Katniss having an arrow and then shooting it, and really being focused on something and being so determined and driven and, wanting to go to the highest heights of that thing, and in that way, Sagittarius and Capricorn can get along. And there's no such thing as bad compatibility. All the different signs get along with each other in some way, shape, or form. Some of them get along because they're so similar, or they're the exact same. Some of them get along because they're really complementary. Others get along because they are so very different and, completely different signs, but they each have something that the other does not have. So that makes for a very fluid and interesting relationship. Like, for example, I think that we can all say that Gemini and Scorpio are very different signs. Wouldn't you say that? But, so, Gemini and Scorpio. They would get along because Scorpio would see the lighter, funner, more, social and interesting, childlike side of life. And then Gemini, that, is all about the surface level and it goes from one thing to the next. Scorpio allows for the more emotional, the deeper, side, the darker side. So, that Cancer can evolve through that sign. So, I was talking about Gemini and Sagittarius, which are opposites. Gemini, I think that it does need some earth to balance it out. And I do think water as well, because Gemini, goes from one thing to the next, and it's just, it's swayed. It's swayed sign that just one thing that interested, it'll do that, and then another thing, it'll move from one thing to the next. With Sagittarius, and the whole thing about Sagittarius really is not setting the boundaries and not being closed in and encaged and, running free in a whole, meadow of daisies, so be called. But that's the area where it is boundless. But it also is, it also has those boundaries to where it is very, it's interesting why it's mutable, because I think it's slightly fixed. because it is an independent sign in that it, goes its own way, and it, you know, um, I was watching something about Mercury in Sagittarius, and they will not compromise or change, their beliefs. I mean, what they're doing, because because they want to be independent. Um, so I think that I like that about Sagittarians, and so we were talking about setting boundaries and talking about the importance of commitment, the importance of commitment. And since you are an astrologer who has a lot, great knowledge on, you know, what makes people tick, through their charts and through the elements and through astrology. I wouldn't say that Wall, I think that when Deborah comes here, it is a great opportunity to be yourself, to not be inhibited, to really have the freedoms and not be as obligated. Now, with the earth that I have, I can tell you that you don't want to completely put those things off. But you want to focus more of your attention on the thing that you want to focus on, that you want to focus on. Not that somebody else is telling you, but that you want to focus on. Because that would lead to dismotivation and disinterest and, shaving yourself clean out of something. That's, what I was saying about Gemini, because Gemini tries all these different things, and then, it's like those, eventually, soon, not going to be hardly anything left because it's checked out all of those different boxes. Whereas, if you focus on something and you commit to something, then you will really learn to, what is the reason for getting into that? Then really find the interest and really letting it, maybe long enough, for it to, sink in. Because if you watch her video, on air, the karma of air is that it's starting so many things, doing so many things, going in all these different directions. And, it's not fixating on that. So, I do think that, Gemini, if you put a Gemini and Capricorn together, that is such a, great opportunity to evolve. Gemini can ground itself down, focus, and then Capricorn, can be lightened up, with the importance of spontaneity and, child fun and, and all those great things. So, that's what I was, really trying to get at, yesterday. So, setting boundaries. So that is that. So now what's going to happen is I really want to get out there very, very soon. Right now. So I'm going to be right back. I want you to hold all of your horses. Because I'm going to just grab my coat and things and we're going to, go outside to look at something. So I just want you to stay right here and you both can. So, I'm going to get my coat on, okay? And I'm going to be waiting here while all of you go to the closet and everything and get your coats on and your gloves on, preferably. So that's what's going to happen. Okay, so I'm going to give you the time to do that, and then when everybody's ready, we're going to head out. Actually, you know what? Let's go at the front door this time around. Let's do that, because it's a wider space for everybody and it's more official. So, all of you can do that, and then I will be right here waiting. Okay? Oh, it's something that we're doing, because I'm trying to prove that point of, you know, because as you now are, exactly. Yeah. Certainly. Not here. No, I just want you to stay here for a second. Now, I'm sure that you're wondering, because, I wish I would have had this conversation with you earlier, this morning, but I just couldn't get around to it because I was busy with, things I had to do over at the headquarters. Now, I just want to say, because I'm sure that you're wondering if I was going to give you an apology for what happened last night. Yes, I am. I didn't realize how much, that I